This award is not given out every year. It's not given out to just anyone. The award is a small sample of lunar soil, a rock, parts of the 840 pounds of rocks that have come from the moon during the 6 expeditions there. And it's presented, not every year, presented to honor the first generation of explorers and to renew our commitment to expand that enterprise. Tonight, it's our honor to present the next Ambassador of Exploration Award to the family of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Please join me in welcoming the President's niece and former Maryland Lieutenant Governor Kathleen Kennedy Townsend to the stage.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that warm introduction, and thank each of you. For you, the people of NASA are the real ambassadors to space and exploration, and I am so honored to be in your presence this evening. Everybody is referring to the past, so I'm going to tell you about when I was young. I was 9 years old on May 5th, 1961, when Navy Commander Alan Shepard became the first American to make a flight into space. I was at Our Lady of Victory School on MacArthur Boulevard here in Washington, D.C. with 40 kids. That's when you could have 40 kids in a class. It's because you had a nun at the top of the classroom. And the 40 of us gathered around a black and white TV with a Mickey Mouse antenna and watched Alan Shepard. We were in awe. It was so exciting. It was also the time at the height of the Cold War when we were wondering whether the United States was going to win or whether the Soviets were. It was also very scary. But just 20 days after we watched Alan Shepard go into space, my uncle John Kennedy went to Congress and said, as we've all heard tonight, we're going to land a man on the moon in this decade. Now, I have to tell you, in the family that I grew up in, we were taught to believe adults. And I was wondering, does he know what he's talking about? Does he know how far away the moon is? I was really worried that he had made a promise that he couldn't succeed. But the fact is, he knew NASA, and he knew they could do the job. He quoted William Bradford in that Rice speech, who, speaking in 1630 at the founding of the Plymouth Bay Colony, said that all great and honorable actions are accompanied with great difficulties, and both must be enterprised and overcome with awesome courage. NASA has both enterprise and courage, and because of President Kennedy's vision and the nation's support, you reached the moon. Congratulations. In the years that followed, Neil Armstrong taking us to the Sea of Tranquility, people throughout the world have watched in awe as the NASA space program has explored the unknown, constantly pushing the boundaries forward, constantly asking why not. Many times we've been proud to celebrate your victories and shared with you in the sadness and tragedy of your losses. But we've always been inspired by your accomplishments. And as we heard earlier this evening, through the Hubble spacecraft and the amazing internet, all of us can participate and feel once again that we're part of the enterprise that is NASA. I think as we think about the future of NASA, it's good to also remember the other words of John Kennedy at Rice University. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one that we are unwilling to postpone, and one which we intend to win and others too. You know, we have a lot of challenges right now in our country and in our world in which we need the spirit that brought NASA to the moon, that takes the belief that we can use science for the good of humankind, whether it be to solve the problems of global climate change, or whether it be to solve the problems of AIDS or other pandemics, or whether it is to make sure that all the people throughout the world can have food and clean water. That ideal that inspired us in the 1960s can come again in this century and at this time and say to us once again that there is no problem beyond our ability, no issue that we can't solve without determination, ingenuity, imagination that NASA shows us this country has. Good luck, and thank you for all you've done.
I'd like to invite Administrator Bolden to the stage, along with the crew of Apollo 11, Commander Neil Armstrong, Commander Module Pilot Michael Collins, and Lunar Module Pilot Buzz Aldrin, to help present the Ambassador of Exploration Award.
Excuse me, can Max Paul come up? He is from Rice University, who is an engineering student at Rice.
Your Honor, it is indeed a pleasure for me to present, along with the crew of Apollo 11, the Ambassador of Exploration Award. This lunar sample is presented in honor of President John F. Kennedy, whose exceptional vision led America to the moon. We present this award on behalf of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration on the 40th anniversary of the first lunar landing. July 20th, 2009 is the date we're presenting it. Congratulations and thank you for joining us tonight to share in this historic moment.
Thank you so much. On behalf of my family, I'm very, very grateful. When they told me I would get a moon rock, I was really excited. And I was going to put it on my mantelpiece. You're not laughing. But I was told I was not allowed to do that. So I thought, what would be the appropriate place for the moon rock to go? And I thought, at Rice University, where President Kennedy inspired so many with that speech, and where he spoke to young people what they could do. And here to accept on behalf of Rice University is Max Paul, who is an engineering student and wanted to study space engineering when he first got to Rice. So, for Rice and for all that that represents, thank you very much. Now we have to put it back.
We're almost done here. Our final guest speaker tonight was part of NASA long before there was actually really a NASA, a formal NASA. He was a naval aviator, the youngest pilot in his squadron. Neil Armstrong flew 78 combat missions during the Korean War. Let's take a look at what that landing site on the moon looks like.